Hello, my name is Matthew Martinez, and this is William Hope. We'll say hi.
Hello.
We're going to be talking about ADHD and how ADHD can it can cause you to struggle with studying and doing research, and how it inhibits that kind of thing. Now, Will, I wanted to ask you, since you and I both have ADHD, what's your take? Like, what do you think? How do you think ADHD affects like reading and stuff like that?
It makes it a fucking Herculean task. Like the impossibility that is fucking studying for anything or doing fucking like anything without like a constant supervision, I guess, is like almost fucking impossible. Because then I'll look at the Google search bar and I'm like, I'm bored, and then I'll fucking like smash my keyboard or something,
Yeah.
and I'll keep me distracted for hours.
Oh yeah, no, I
I can't,
completely agree with
can't
that.
can't do any work done ever. Fucking funny brain fungitis disease.
There are points in like studying or like in work, like where I will be typing in something that I need to type in, and I'll be working on a commission or something along those lines, and then I will be like, okay, this is a great ref. Let's see how like let's see who's playing Mario in the Mario movie.
Yeah,
Let's watch Chris Pratt get made
That's
fun of
what's Chris
again.
Platt. Yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, no, as like you're doing a task like something along the lines of like, a big page of just words thrown into you don't really know how to process that.
hmm I think like a good example of like how difficult it is like in high school. I had a music class and I had to like do a presentation of a band I liked. And then I'd get too distracted listening to the music, and I'd be like, "Yeah, this shit fucking rocks. What was I doing?" And I think I had bare bone minimum at best for that presentation, and still all the fucking songs are like fucking not school friendly, and I was like, I didn't realize that was there. My brain just like tunes it out
just
and shit.
just shuts down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't pay attention to nothing enough.
just the visual of you playing like a trombone or something, and as the music keeps going, just a slow
Yeah. I also got the like make brain go forgetty a lot ADHD. Like I didn't learn my fucking birth. I didn't have my birthday memorized until I was in fucking high school.
Wow.
Like fucking my brain can't remember words or names of anything.
Yeah. No, like I completely agree with you. ADHD can do things like that where like you'll remember like the stupidest thing, but like forget like your social security.
Yeah, I remember what brand my shoelaces is. Where's my credit card? My shoelaces.
All right. So I guess now I wanted to bring up some claims that are brought up from some sources. Um,
hmm
so first up, I wanted to bring up a source from Dr. Pallanti about how essentially ADHD causes. Essentially, Dr. Pallotti claims that ADHD is not in and of itself one thing, but instead leads to other things and leads to just more, I guess, kind of like more disorders that can lead to a more complicated life. For example, ADHD could lead to anxiety, OCD, PTSD, and BPD, just name a few. And so I wanted to ask your opinion if you think that, if you agree, if you disagree, yeah.
I think that would, because I mean, I don't have any of those things mentioned, but I do have fucking crippling insomnia where I can't get to sleep at all. And I feel like ADHD is probably could be a part of that. Because I'll lay in bed and then my brain, my little brain hole starts like screaming at me to like just do literally anything but go the fuck to sleep. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be exhausted to the point where I can't fucking move. I still can't sleep. Still wide awake. Can't fucking the brain go ooh, and I don't get to sleep for like fucking days at a time at some points.
Yeah, no, actually, funny thing is, that is like one of the points brought up in the actual book. So,
I
yeah.
completely believe it. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, ADHD. For me, I believe that this this is unwholly accurate. You do not need to be told the lengths my anxiety will go thanks to this fun little
Yeah.
guy. But I completely believe that, I guess, making that stretch into the topic, that this kind of like this would cause more difficulty when reading, because not only do you have ADHD where you cannot focus on what you're reading, but also you have anxiety where you're like, oh fuck, is this good? Am I doing this right? Or in your case, insomnia, where you're just too tired to understand the words that you're reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess like what he's claiming, I agree with, and we'll get into other sources later, but those sources that I'm going to bring up kind of, in a weird way, contradict this. Not really contradict, but more kind of like don't really understand that this can lead to something else. Other, I guess, kind of the way this is framed, where it's just kind of like, where it's just kind of like it's ADHD, and then more comes in afterwards. What the other sources kind of claim is that um, ADHD is just one thing. That's just kind of its own contained animal. And so, talking about one of those sources, I wanted to bring in this next one. This is from Emilie Nordby. And so, what they claim is that the best way to work with ADHD and understanding how to, I guess, kind of do work and do school stuff and job stuff is to work in groups of people who either are just there to support you or have ADHD also. But working in groups is what they're claiming is like the best kind of solution. I guess, what do you agree with it?
I mean, like, I've never really worked in groups much because, like, when I was in school, I was like fucking super anxious and like never fucking talked to almost anyone and shit. So I mean, I don't know. I've worked in groups like a couple times, and I guess it did help me focus a little bit because there was like someone else there to keep me on topic at least a little bit. So I mean, like when I did it, it helped a little bit, but I don't have much like experience with working in groups and shit.
Oh, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
For me, I guess I have experienced a lot of working in groups. I'd even consider our little like friend group a group of people with ADHD. Considering I think like it's you, another friend, and I who have ADHD. I'd say that makes up a group. But I guess kind of it does help, and it does help in a major way. But the article has a very weird thing that I do not agree with at all.
Which is
Thank you for the segue.
yeah, and then I have one of those segue. Continue.
Shit, that the ADHD thing is happening. But essentially, what it says is it generalizes ADHD rather than having it be this largely branching thing. It treats it as like everyone has the same kind of ADHD to the same magnitude with no other problems, and they get along just fine in the group. Which, in the way that they do it with interviews and stuff like that, that's fine. If they just treat ADHD as just this isolated thing, it's just like, hey, yeah, you guys work in a group. Oh, okay, yeah, this is great. Okay, like that's kind of how the sources, in a very, in a very like laid back and like toned down way. Emilie Nordby's claim is essentially people with ADHD work in groups, but they don't acknowledge other factors, which I believe is a huge thing because with ADHD, there's different magnitudes. Because if someone has just mild kind of like just losing focus, like that can work great in a group with people similar to that strength. But if you put one person in there who just is not able to function without medication, then that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I definitely think it's like a fucking not hierarchy, like a fucking different levels and magnitudes and shit of ADHD.
yeah.
And like ADHD could like probably affect someone harder in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Where like someone could just like fucking not be able to pay attention, or someone could just be like fucking ADHD literally can't remember anything ever, which is probably more along the line of where I fall in than fucking anything else.
Yeah. I guess their claim is very much like it has truth to it. It has weight, but it definitely like the lack of acknowledgement towards the fact that there are definitely different magnitudes than just people with ADHD get together, have fun. I do think that like that needs its own kind of like it needs in and of itself to like you need to just acknowledge that. Just know like hey, you can't like if an ADHD person who's just like not too like not too far from being neurotypical interacts with someone who's like extremely like neurodivergent with ADHD, then yeah, that can be pretty problematic. And I wanted to bring this up because it's connection to the first source. The first source saying like ADHD is a branching thing. This source just keeps it as one contained thing. So that being said, that one contained thing just is not plausible.
Yeah.
It's just not plausible because ADHD branches unless treated pretty like unless treated before things get worse, I guess. I don't even know if I'm using the word treated correctly.
That's fair.
But yeah, I do believe that these two just contrast each other to a humongous extent.
Agreed.
And now finally, I wanted to bring up Michael J. Kofler's claim is that reading is difficult within children with ADHD because of difficulties with memorization instead of focusing. And so we brought this up earlier that memorization played a huge part in ADHD. And just what's your opinion on how memorization affects how we as ADHD people work in terms of reading?
Reading, I do think the focusing is like what's hard for me because like whenever I read or something, I'll like literally fuck up and read the same line 37 fucking times. But with like memorizing it, because I read it 37 times, so I'm gonna have it memorized because I read it 37 fucking times, so I'll have it memorized. Or with something like it's like my memory works weird, where it's like a weird short to midterm things I can fucking remember, or like when it reaches long term, like super long term fucking memory, like weeks ago, I have it perfectly fucking memorized down to a T. Remember every fucking word on that page. But with like this weird like late midterm memory, complete wasteland, can't remember anything from that time. Like
I do think that memorization plays a part because it's going to be this weird thing where I'm reading. I remember like I will read a history excerpt about like about a president was brushing his teeth when the White House burned down. I'll remember that. I'll remember he brushed his teeth, and then I get quizzed on it. It's like his house burned down.
What the fuck?
Like,
well, that's like the thing for how it works with me. It's like if I see like a little reminder text, my brain will like expand rapidly, and I'll see all the like interconnecting everything that ever happened in that man's life that I know of from fucking reading that one page. As long as there's just like a little bit of reminder text.
Yeah, like with this claim, they're also I guess the biggest point for me is that he's claiming about memorization being the main thing within a reading. He's also talking about children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very notable thing within the source is that he only mentions children.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think this is like, I think because the source is fairly recent.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like, I believe the date was, if I'm correct,
1972.
Just super far back. No, it's 2019.
The year zero.
The dawn of man.
Yeah, the dawn of time. Anyways.
But it was made in 2019. And so that's fairly recent. This is post when people realized, oh yeah, adults have ADHD.
Yeah.
So what I think, I guess, is he's trying to, I guess, kind of claim is that memorization is in children, but what I'm, I guess, kind of taking away from that is that, yeah, that can kind of be extended to adults because we have that issue of memorization being weird. And so, yeah.
Weird war zone. Yeah.
But taking this back with the others, that also leads to point one. It's a branch.
Yeah.
ADHD branches like a tree. What the source is saying is essentially keeping it in its own ball. These two, like those two, the first source conflicts with the other ones to a very notable extent. Where they just kind of don't acknowledge that ADHD just is not its own contained beast. It branches hard.
Yeah.
And so acknowledging that, I guess, is it says memorization is the hardest bit. It doesn't really acknowledge the fact that it branches off or that ADHD is mainly just a focus-based thing. So, oh, dang, I dropped my soda.
Yeah, oh, dang, I dropped my soda. Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I believe the claims held in this are fairly founded, but I disagree with it being the most important or the most difficult bit within the kind of ADHD experience for reading. So, I guess with that, that concludes the podcast. I thank.
Anyways,
I thank William for joining me and helping me out with this. It's super lovely to have you on and just talk.
Tomato Town. Yeah, that's right.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. With that,
yeah, no problem.
Thank you for your time.